Okay, hi everyone. We're starting the live stream, so we're going to let some people come in first. If you're watching this after a live stream, just skip forward, click forward a few times. I'll start pointing at this data here behind me. So we're going to be covering a lot in today's video. Let me get my view up so I can see what I'm looking at. But we've had some extreme flare activity on the sun. And this is all coinciding with the lunar eclipse on March 25th. So we've had an extreme amount of solar activity just ramp up in the past few days. We've had sympathetic flaring with these two right here. They've really gone wild. We had some teasers that there was going to be some extreme activity from these sunspot groups. As you saw there, some kind of electrical activity there back on the 21st and the 22nd of March. This is actually the old sunspot group AR3590, which launched the largest X-class flare of solar cycle 25 thus far. We are in solar maximum, and now these two are going back and forth, and there was a 1.12 X-class flare from these two combined. You see it right there. And this was an extended X-class flare. It had a very long duration. The area under the curve for this energy burst is very high. So there's an extreme amount of energy coming into our planet soon. This released a very large coronal mass ejection. Impact is expected to be March 25th, which is the first spring equinox lunar eclipse. And there's a lot of energy in this eclipse. I'm going to go into the astrology of this eclipse for you. We're going to first cover the solar space weather dynamics and then talk about the astrology, effectively giving you an idea of how the space weather and solar dynamics and all the solar forcing is modifying the astrological energies at play with that eclipse. So I'm just going to check the live stream health really quick, make sure we got some people. Hello everyone, I see you there. Just FYI, when I'm here, I guess I can pop the chat out so I can see both at the same time. Because if I do my screen so I can see myself, I can't see the chat. So, okay, this should work. And yeah, so this is going to be a Q&A too, just kind of a relaxed live stream. We're in the midst of a huge radiation storm right now. We've had a whole bunch of geomagnetic storms, constant X-flare activity. I mean, I have a whole bunch of data to show you. So just sit down and grab yourself a nice cup of tea or something because we're going to go over a lot in this video, and I'm hoping that I can help you prepare for this large energetic flux that is heading our way. I'm at the end of a very long travel day. I woke up at like 4 a.m. Actually, I woke up at 3 a.m. with that 1.12 X-class flare. I went to sleep early, but I had to wake up at 4 to go on a train ride from Vienna to Cologne in Germany, like 14 hours. And I woke up before my alarm, and it was right at the time of that 1.12 X-class flare. So that actually woke me up, even though I should have been dead asleep because I needed my sleep in preparation for this. And I had to ruck over like a mile and a half with 80 pounds of gear on me. So it's been a long day, but this is my duty to report to you guys. So let's talk about what's been happening. Woe is me. I'm actually feeling really good right now. You can channel these energies towards creative purpose and passion if you work with them and you reformat your mind and your body and everything. You really are honest with yourself. So we'll talk about all that too. So yeah, a lot of solar activity right here from our sun, these sympathetic flares. We have probably more coming our way too. Let's just quickly look at the X-ray flux so you can see what's been happening. Here we have our X-ray flux. There's that 1.12 X-class flare. Oh, sorry, I'm covering it. There's the 1.12 X-class flare. Here's all the other activity that's happened since then. We had a little bit of a flare beforehand. Then we had a lot of flaring happen afterwards, and that is likely to continue. And as those sunspot groups rotate past that Earth direct and center, then there's going to be a higher degree of coupling to our planet electromagnetically, causing perhaps stronger radiation storms. Here we can look at our proton flux. We can look at the solar radiation storm that we're in right now. Massive storm, by the way. Our red line here, this is our greater than 10 mega electron volt protons. You can see just how much they charged up almost instantly, then just kept going. I mean, you wish that, well, yeah, so really, really wild. Our blue line is greater than 50 mega electron volts, very, very powerful. They're going up. Even green, significant bump on green. These are greater than 100 mega electron volts in strength. And that's, maybe you don't have context for that. Basically, these are protons that are traveling at relativistic speeds near the speed of light. And so they're traveling insanely fast. And protons have a lot of mass to them. An electron is 1,800 times less mass than a proton. A photon has no mass. So for something to be traveling near the speed of light with a lot of mass means that there's a lot of energy with it. So the fact that we're getting all these bumped up on a log scale, see, this is log scale, 10 to the 0, 10 to the 1, 10 to the 2. It's not just like a 2x increase. This from baseline here, let's actually, get our measurements. Red there says it's about 0.2, okay, 0.197. Now it just hit this peak here of 867. So it went up, let's just call that 0.2 to 1,000, okay? That went up 5,000x. Or you do 5 times 8, and you get, what was that, like 4,000x, okay? So, I mean, tremendous, tremendous, tremendous increase in energy coming into our planet right now because of these flares here. And yeah, even though it's just a 1.12x class flare, look at the area under the curve, okay? This really tells you a lot. People don't consider these things. They just look at the number. They don't look at the actual, sometimes the dynamics of this. This is effectively the X-ray energy coming into our planet, okay? We're measuring X-ray light energy coming into our planet at 5.6 Earth radii by the GOES satellite. When you see an elevation there, that means that there's a whole bunch more energy coming in over an extended period of time. You could have a flare like this one here, goes up, right back down, okay? I mean, it's still a burst of energy, but when you have this extended solar explosion releasing energy over time, this really matters. All this energy is culminating for March 25th. Let's look at that, okay? I'm going to kind of jump around here. We have, well, first let's look at the coronagraph because they're really crazy, okay? Here we have our coronagraph. We'll see this, the coronal mass ejection right there, boom, all directions, which means it's headed earthwards. See all the speckles? That's that solar proton radiation storm. And that's probably the most saturated I've seen the coronagraph, the close and the far view with solar protons. So not only do we have a solar proton radiation storm right now, a whole bunch of X-ray energy coming in. We've already had like 3 or 4 kind of continuous geomagnetic storms, and we have the coronal mass ejection impact coming up, and we have full moon on the 24th and the 25th reflecting this energy as well. The moon reflects X-rays, gamma rays, all these high vibrational wavelengths of light. It's very reflective, adding even more energy into the system. It's in the magnetotail, causing different changes in the plasma flows, reconnection events, energy flows going into the Earth. So literally everything is aligning simultaneously right now. And in terms of the astrology, the sun is exalted in Aries. If we use Western tropical astrology, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, a new initiation, spring. We just had the spring equinox. The sun is exalted in Aries. So it makes sense that it's doing all this extreme energy outbursts and explosions at this moment in time astrologically. So there's no coincidence, folks. That's why I study astrology too. Let's go to the far view. Check this one out. Really, really nice. Here is the coronal mass ejection, all sides, like this. Very, very nice. And then we see the solar protons start to come in. Yeah, really, really significant. So they've modeled this. We can look at our models. Here is our NASA model. Let me go to the other side. Here's our NASA model. The NASA model is simpler than the NOAA model, but they show basically yellow dot is Earth, smack dab center, hitting Earth. If you're jumping on the live stream now, folks, by the way, there will be a Q&A at the end. Stay tuned for the astrology at the end too. I'll do a complete breakdown of the lunar eclipse coming up on March 25th. But this NOAA model is showing a direct impact on Earth around the 25th. Yep, right around the 25th. We can look at the NOAA model. That one we can pause too, which is nice. Let's go full screen. Okay. Here is our coronal mass ejection right there. Coming in. There's our Earth in green. We see this plasma density spike right there. We see the velocity spike too. So you get not only an increase in the number of energetic particles interacting with Earth, you also have them coming in faster, more energy overall. And if we pause this, right, let's zoom back. Let's get our timestamp. Okay, here's our timestamp. This is March 25th, 5 a.m. The lunar eclipse, this is UTC time, the lunar eclipse is at 8 a.m. on the dot on the 25th. So not only is our peak impact modeled to hit at about 5 a.m., the lunar eclipse itself is going to be just within a few hours of that. And of course, there's a little bit of variability in air with this. It's not perfect. But basically, we saw that coronal mass ejection launch all sides. Boom, it's coming, it's heading towards us. There's more flare activity that's happened since then. There's a whole wall now, like the wall from Game of Thrones heading towards our planet right now energetically. And it's all going to line up with this lunar eclipse on March 25th. So the reason why it's important to track space weather if you're into astrology is because the sun is always modifying the energies that occur on our planet. And astrology is looking at planetary alignments, archetypal energies, things of that nature. But the sun is this extra dimension of change on top of that. And so it can be quite a big change from what the normal energies would be when you have things happening like this. So really big impact. I mean, we see it right there. Nice wave of plasma. Also, hey, I didn't even mention this yet. There is a high-speed stream coming in on the 25th. So we got like 6 things. I mean, I would have to count them up, but at least we have the high-speed stream, coronal mass ejection, we have the solar proton radiation storm, we've had all the geomagnetic storms, we have the lunar eclipse. There's probably some more that I've missed. We got a lot happening. Okay, so let's look at that coronal hole just so we get caught up there. Here is the coronal hole. And let's just click play. Coronal hole is an area of open magnetic field on the sun and emits high-speed streams. So there's these streams of particles that travel at higher velocities that are emitted from these coronal holes, and then they will sweep by the Earth. Right now, we're also in a period called, it's known as the Russell-McFerrin effect. We're in a period where the Earth is coupled to the interplanetary magnetic field to a greater degree. So energy transfer occurs very easily right now between interplanetary space and the Earth. So if this was all happening, let's say in July, then a lot of this energy could just bounce off our planetary shield, the magnetic field. But right now, with the way that the Earth is tilted and the fact that it's equinox right now, most of this energy will be deposited into our magnetosphere, plastosphere system, causing these violent energy reorganizations. And with the moon in the magnetotail, that's where a lot of the highest velocity and highest density energy flux is stored. Like some of the most powerful energies are stored in the magnetotail, but the density is very low. That's one of the most conductive parts of Earth's plastosphere. Because when density decreases, conductivity actually increases when it comes to gases. So we have this high-speed stream too, and before all these flares occurred, that was also modeled to buffet the Earth on the 25th. So polar shift, maybe we'll talk about that. Save it for the Q&A. Polar shift for the sun. The sun right now is undergoing a magnetic pole reversal. That's why we are in solar cycle 25 maximum right now. So let's look quickly. I'm just going through these, basically showing you what's up. Here is our absorption of the D region of the ionosphere. This is the uppermost part of the atmosphere. Charged particles like to hang out there, and you'll see this is basically where the sun is. You know, radiation, solar radiation is always causing a bit of a signal drop, but all the flares we've been having have been causing these signal dropouts in the megahertz range. So any of these like ham radio operators, they use megahertz signals. The ionosphere also has a megahertz frequency, it depends on where. And so when you get this solar radiation, these X-rays and protons charge it up, degrade the signal, you lose reflectiveness, you can't operate your radio gear too much anymore. But right now we're also in this regime here of polar absorption. These highly charged particles, because they do have mass to them, they're not photons, they like to travel along magnetic fields. So they get routed preferentially and primarily to the poles of our planet, specifically to the North Pole, because that's where the field flows in. Particles will also go to the South Pole, but most of them like to go to the North Pole because the magnetic field lines flow in like this, then they go through the core, and then they go out down through the South Pole. So we are having, as you can see here, extreme polar absorption events right now for both North and South, which is very, very significant. If you watch my video on Gockel's supervolcano, you'll know that there's a supervolcano right now located just next to our North Magnetic Pole in the Northern Hemisphere. So one of the largest supervolcanoes ever discovered. One of the largest supervolcano eruptions that's ever occurred back 1.1 million years ago. I suggest you check that video out for a bit of a better understanding of Earth's energetic dynamics right now, like on the larger scale, not just, hey, the next 2 days, but like the next 25 years. You'll see that on my channel homepage. So let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, I want to show you the solar wind, the real time. Yeah, okay. So here's our real-time solar wind. And I just want to give you a sense of what's been happening recently. This is the past 7 days. And you can see that we've actually been having a lot of activity. I wish I could have reported on this for you, but I've been very, very, very busy. So here is the first kind of shot across the bow. First little geomagnetic storm that we had. We see our bump in the KP indices. These are measured geomagnetic activity. Here we're looking at interplanetary magnetic field strength. Black line is the total field strength in nanotesla. Red line is the southward component. When it goes negative, that means you have a greater energy coupling to the Earth. So when you see this red line go down, that's typically a sign that there's going to be greater energy deposited into the plasmasphere, magnetosphere system, and also in general there'll be a geomagnetic storm. So we see this little bump there, things kind of quieted down. Then we see some pretty significant geomagnetic activity here. And then you can see how it really has kept building. It's actually still going on right now. So we're in the middle of a geomagnetic storm. Here is the KP indices for the 22nd, 21st. They went up to 5, and now we've been in this regime here that's also been 5. Here we look at our speed in purple. It's been going up. There's a high speed stream coming in. Here we have our temperature. It's going up. Density is remaining elevated compared to here, but fairly flat for the past 24 hours or so. So yeah, we're in the middle of a geomagnetic storm. We're in the middle of a solar proton radiation storm. You see here S2 moderate. It's quite significant. We can look at our HB60 index to get a better sense of this geomagnetic activity. So yeah, you can see here's the first bump, really quiet, just like 5 days ago. So if you're wondering, hey, why do I feel so different now as compared to like literally just like less than a week ago? Well, maybe this is why, because we had almost no geomagnetic activity, and now it's just boom, here we are. And literally it started the moment the sun went into Aries. So there's something with astrology, guys. I mean, sun is exalted in Aries. It means that the sun is like on a pedestal in Aries. It's like, you know, put up, and it's very, very happy there. It's not its domicile, it's not its home, but it loves to be in Aries. And the moment that it went in, March 19th, start of spring, the equinox, Aries season, boom, there we go. solar activity just jumped up, and we get these geomagnetic storms coming in. So we see that here, and then we see that here, and we have this there. And those weren't even from big coronal mass ejections or impacts or anything. What we just had today with the 1.12 X-class flare is the largest coronal mass ejection we've had in a long time that is Earth directed, and very clearly so. There have been other storms that's like they were strong X flares, but they didn't launch any coronal material, so it's kind of a question mark. I mean, I haven't been 100% accurate in my forecast, but in the past, but this one looks pretty much a surefire thing. So there's our HP60 index. We can look at our DST index, another measure of geomagnetic volatility. Here is the beginning of March there. You see this big drop, but now we see how it's been kind of fluctuating there. And so the more that this drops, the more significant the storm. If it goes below 100 nanotesla, that's pretty significant. Drops below 200, you know you're really in for something. So we're already seeing some drops there. This went down to about -80. So already kind of, you know, seeing some moves. And this coronal mass ejection coming in on the 25th, we'll see where that drops us. But that's going to happen with that lunar eclipse. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. And yeah, I mean, again, that proton storm happening right now, really intense. We'll see how long this lasts. Look, we got blue popping up again and red. So, I mean, maybe another flare went off. That happens all the time when I make these videos. It's like I drop a video and the sun does an X flare or something. So you can never be on top of it because it's always doing something new. We can just refresh this really quick. Make sure. Okay, so let's, I also have some slides here. Just want to quickly go through them. Here are our sunspots, 3615. This is like the big baddie on the sun. There's like 40 plus cores. It's like 200,000 kilometers wide. And the more cores are, the more complex the magnetic field is. It's very, very large. This is 3614, the remnant to 3590, which gave us that most powerful X-class flare of solar cycle 25. And for like the past 7 years, about a month ago, it's still lingering around. Actually, last month when this was here, there was also that coronal hole that was kind of surrounding it. And we had that coronal hole that's in the same position, though smaller this time around too. So some of these features on the sun persist. I highlighted 3607 and 3618 here just because they are in that region where if they were to flare, there would be a high degree of coupling to our planet because of how the interplanetary magnetic field spirals out. But as they go around, that's going to reduce. Then we have 3617, 3619. This one's, you know, fairly significant, smaller than this though. And then 3620. So it's really these guys right here. They're a little further up now. I created this in the morning when I was on the train. But these are really the baddies, and they're flaring together. They're linked together, whether inside the sun or outside the sun or both. And as they have this entire rotation here where they can just keep launching, keep blasting our planet basically with a lot of energy, protons, ions, photons, and more. Now we have our magnetogram. Here you can see the positive and the negative polarity arrangement here. You can see just how widespread just kind of all this actually is. This whole area there, like we have all this to contend with coming up in the future, but we also have all this right now. So we have at least like a week or more, probably more like 10 days where this is really going to be a factor at play. So all the way from this lunar eclipse into the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse that's transiting, you can see a shadow across North America. That's on, what, the 8th of April, I believe. So this sunspot group here, 3615, has also been rapidly growing. And so it's not static. It has been evolving, more cores, it's been expanding in size. So, and you can see here, though, this one on the intensitygram, 3614, looks fairly tiny. On the magnetogram, you can see how widespread that magnetic flux is. So really quite significant. Here we can actually do a close-up look really briefly. Here are all those cores, more than 40 of them, really quite a lot. This is the 4K view. Magnetogram shows the magnetic polarity arrangements of that. Roughly positive here, negative there, but you do get intermixing, which makes it more volatile, which makes it more likely to produce those extreme X-class flares. So this could be a warm-up. And that's why I put in the title, you know, be prepared. Now is the time to kind of prepare yourself, because these energies interact with us both physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And a lot of us know this. Some of us are, let's say, new to that. We're just newly experiencing these increased connections to the geophysical and solar system energies. It's basically kind of like coming online. Once you come online, you start to be like, oh, okay. Once you start to take notes, once you start to learn this stuff, you can put things together. But yeah, we're all connected to this, just as we're all connected to each other, all life on this planet. You know, we're all one. We're all individual, and we're all one. So yeah, we got a lot coming up. Also, just want to show you the ionosphere. I made this graphic here, which is pretty cool. Showing the effect of this 1.12 X-class flare. This is the the North Pole, the ionosphere potential in kilovolts, greater above normal. So let me put that on a loop, show you one more time. And what I want you to see is that here, the values are like 20 and like negative 40, negative 50, but then they jump up with that 1.12 X-class flare. So what that is showing you is that X-ray radiation will charge the ionosphere, and also then when you get that proton flux coming in, that also charges the ionosphere as well, and that's continuing to come in. So you have this greater potential of energy build at the North and the South Pole, and then at the equators the energy potential is less. So that creates very strong electric currents that flow in between the mid-latitudes and the poles. These electric currents induce telluric currents. They also amplify weather systems. So we could see a strengthening of weather patterns over the next few days. If there was a storm, maybe it becomes a thunderstorm. If there is a tropical storm, maybe it becomes like a hurricane. That is very possible. That is definitely possible. And then the end of all this is that a lot of this energy will go into the Schumann resonances, which are these naturally resonant wavelengths of light that we are biologically and consciously connected to. So let's now talk about the astrology, and here we go. Now I just want to quickly look at the chat. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm in Germany, so 8% of you are all watching from Germany. So hello, guten Noch, I think it is. Happy to have you all here, but of course, hello and welcome everyone. We'll do a Q&A in just a little bit, but Ochnich. Oh, there's so many. Love you all, love you all. Okay, so let's talk about the astrology. We have some really nice astrology with this partial lunar eclipse. The moon is not going to go completely into Earth's shadow, so there's only going to be a slight dimming of the moon, but there is some significant astrology here. Now this is on March 23rd. This is the 2024 lunar eclipse for the springtime. I actually have this set for Cologne, Germany, which is where I am. 8 a.m. UTC time. Local time is 8 a.m. UTC time is 7. And so we have some aspects here. We have kind of a little bit of a thought. There's our moon. You can just quickly look, before we get the chart, quickly look at our elemental balance. We see that we have a pretty nice balance actually between all the elements. So we have fire, all completely condensed in cardinal, Aries. But we do have Sun, Mercury, the North Node, and Chiron all on fire. And then we have the Moon, we have the South Node, Vertex, Pluto. In air, we have Ceres. Well, I can't get in all the aspects because this is a local chart. But we have Ceres, we have Jupiter, Uranus, Eros, all in Earth, along with the Black Moon, Lilith, and Juno. And then here in water, we have in Pisces, in mutable Pisces, we have Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Neptune. So a pretty good balance, though the water and the air are kind of, mutable water, cardinal fire, kind of makes sense. So here is our chart. And the first main aspect of this this lunar eclipse, of course, is that we have a full moon. So just based on the actual, you could say, geophysics or astronomy of this, the moon is going to be opposite the sun. So we have the moon here at 5 degrees of Libra. Sun is at 5 degrees of Aries. This is Western tropical astrology. I know that the true sky position is different. This is the archetypal understanding using Western tropical. It works, okay? So there's, I do both systems. Here's the moon, there's the sun, 5 degrees, making this opposition, okay? And so this naturally shows this tension between the sun and the moon. And what's interesting about this is the sun is exalted in Aries. It's really, Aries is a fire sign, cardinal fire, really kind of like a big bang energy. Sun loves that. I mean, sun is domicile in Leo, but sun loves Aries too. And so the moon being opposite the sun at that moment in time allows for even more of this solar energy to come into our planet. So you have exalted sun beaming out all this energy, the flares, the solar radiation, like all this stuff, and the moon is asking us to consider certain things. It's illuminating certain topics by being in this opposition, but it's also working with the sun to put even more energy into the planet. So they're really, while there may be a conversation between the sun and the moon, there's also very much, they're working together for our benefit. So there's a lot of this solar energy that's being reflected by the moon back into our planet. So they are in opposition. Libra is, a lot of people talk about Libra with balance or things like relationships, but Libra, I would say more than that, is really about judgment. It's about making a decision this way or that way. And so with all this energy coming in from the sun, the moon is asking us perhaps to make an emotional decision, like which way you're going to go. And you may be even supercharged. So that's where the balance aspect of Libra comes. It's really asking you to like keep a level head, keep calm, keep cool, but then make that decision. Because sometimes in life you have to go left or right. Or if you don't make a decision at all, that's still making a decision. So you have to choose. And that is just an archetypal aspect of life where sometimes you have to make tough decisions. And the moon is very much related to our emotions, also in some ways our material reality. So there could be a decision that is now being amplified by all this solar energy, and just you got to make that. For example, for me, I have my Mars conjunct this moon at this lunar eclipse. So, Mars energy, I know what it is for me. So we have this opposition, sun, moon-sun opposition. Also interesting to note, if we're talking about eclipses, is that we have to consider where the nodes of the moon are. The nodes are the exact perfect eclipse points. So the moon is in a slight tilt compared to the Earth, so it doesn't always have eclipses. But when you have that perfect eclipse point, that's when you get these really nice eclipses. So we have the nodes here. There's the south node in Libra at 15 degrees. North node there at 15 degrees. Chiron is conjunct at 18. So it's 3 degrees off. That's the next one here. Chiron conjunct the north node. Chiron being the wounded healer. We have Sirius here in Cancer square those two. So Sirius is the brightest star in our sky. It's pretty close by. Some people think that we may be in a binary star relationship with Sirius. And it's square these nodes. So there's a lot of energy with Sirius. Part of, it's in, Canis Major, the dog constellation. It's very much it's kind of it's at an odd placement in Cancer in some ways. But Sirius is a very bright, illuminating, powerful object, very much kind of a fire type energy, and we have it square these nodes as well, adding a little bit more energy into this and bringing Cancer into the equation too, which is connected to our emotions. It's the one of the homes of the moon, domicile. And so, moon is exalted in Taurus, but it's a domicile in Cancer. So we have that little energy exchange going on too with Sirius. Wanted to mention that. We have Pluto trine moon. Now, let me actually discuss this text here first. Okay, so one of the things I like to think about with the moon is that as it sweeps through the zodiac, as it sweeps through our sky every 28 days, when it hits a planet, it makes a note, you could say. There's a certain character when the moon is conjunct a planet. It does that every 28 days. So the order that it goes through the sky, it's always going the same direction, but the planets will be in different geometries. That order will make different songs, and the notes will play in different orders, and therefore give a different quality to the energy and a different quality to our time. So we have the moon leading up to this lunar eclipse, going through Virgo and trining a whole bunch, Virgo, and trining a whole bunch of points in Taurus and Capricorn. Because you'll see here that the moon is just at 5 degrees of Libra. So it really is at that apex going towards perfectly illuminated 100% in Virgo. So here we have the moon going through Virgo, trining Jupiter, Eros, and Uranus, and also Ceres, before it then hits Libra and reaches a trine with Pluto. So let me break that down. Here is Jupiter, there's Eros, they are conjunct. Another aspect here, Eros is conjunct Pluto. Eros is conjunct Jupiter. This is at 15, 16 degrees of Taurus. So the moon is going to trine these two, and then just 4 degrees later, it will trine Uranus. Before that, though, it will trine Ceres. Ceres is actually in a trine right now with Jupiter and Eros. So the moon is, I think it's about tonight, or just past this degree point. I think it just passed the degree point where it actually formed a grand Earth trine with Ceres, the moon, Jupiter, and Eros. So that's a very nice beneficial aspect. And then it'll go hit Uranus, and then it'll hit Pluto. So you have this big kind of increase in Jupiter brings growth, prosperity, abundance, faith, just a lot of joy, passion, and love. It's conjunct Eros, which adds into that even more. Can maybe even make that a little overzealous. And then Ceres is, in ancient Greek myth, Demeter, she's the goddess of the harvest, abundance. Also cannot be abundance because it's also the seasons, but there can be this aspect of abundance with Ceres. So we have this, and the moon can represent manifestations too, and what's coming into our material reality. So we have this really big earth energy, grand trine kind of moment. Then it hits Uranus, and we start to see how that can change to an even greater dimension, how it can even expand beyond that. And then it goes into Libra and hits that trine to Pluto at 2 degrees, and just 3 degrees later, boom, you have your lunar eclipse opposite the sun. So really nice energy kind of pathway there, I would say. And then we also have Mars. It just ingress into Pisces with this as well. So it's not an aspect, but you can see here it says at 1 degrees, joining Saturn, Venus, and Neptune. So joining the Pisces parade. So a lot of nice aspects with this lunar eclipse. This was already a lunar eclipse, which is, a lot of astrologers say there's a lot of fate to eclipses, more charged than a normal transit, like a normal new moon or full moon. And then we have all this solar energy added on top, really making this much more significant, I would say, than it would have been before that had happened. So that's the thing, you can't predict this stuff. If someone made a video, let's say, on this lunar eclipse a week ago, it's now going to be missing that extra dimension on top unless they do an update. And we got this just counting down like 24 hours. So if this resonated in any way and you just intuitively had some pings and thoughts as to what this is saying for you, then now's the time to act, whether this is with manifestation, whether this is with clearing, cord cutting, old baggage, whatever. Do what you need to. You have the energy at your disposal. The sun is granting us this blessing and abundance. Jupiter's helping out. The moon's helping out. Pluto is there to wrap it all up and just transform it, and boom, there you go. And ancient Greek, Pluto, there's a deviation of the word Pluto, but it means wealth and giver of wealth. So while Pluto's the underworld, like Hades, Pluto's the underworld, kind of our inner aspect, our inner being, that is where the answer lies. That is where true wealth and understanding lies. So we have all these outside forces, and then Pluto is going to wrap that up and really deliver it to us, and then boom, we have that sun-moon opposition. So that is the astrology for this, and we just went over the space weather. I'm going to go back to our graphic with the sun, and then we'll do the Q&A. Oh, look at that. That's nice. That is that flare. And okay, so let me make this Q&A chat window a little larger. Thanks everyone for sticking around. I hope the chat's been fun. You know, it's Saturday, so I figured this would be a good time to do a live stream. I like doing these live streams. Always happy to do them. And yeah, let's just actually, you know what, maybe I just go full screen with this. Okay. Talk about the comment. I just haven't been talking about the comment because I haven't been tracking it that much. But that comment is coming pretty close to the sun and the earth with the April 8th solar eclipse. So the comet, you know, astrologically is like a herald of change. And so it's quite interesting that we have this comet circling around at that exact same time. So just in general, from the global perspective, for all of humanity, a lot of stuff happening over the next couple weeks. Expect the unexpected. Also don't expect anything, but definitely there could be some big shakeups. Just make sure that you're prepared in terms of your mental space. Just make sure you're prepared physically, eat well, you know, just nourish your body with what it needs, do grounding, and then make sure that you're just prepared in regards to unexpected events occurring on the planet, because you never know. I mean, I travel a lot, and the world is a pretty wild place. So just be alert. Don't be vigilant. Don't be sleepy. Okay. Has the flare had any effect on us so far? Well, I mean, the X-rays and the gamma rays and extreme ultraviolet light, all the light photon radiation will impact the ionosphere in 8.3 minutes and cause it to charge up. And as I shared earlier in the live stream, I actually woke up from that at 3 a.m. I mean, it was pretty precise. So yeah, it can have an effect on you. More significant would be the proton radiation storm and the geomagnetic storms. But some people are sensitive enough to feel X flares, especially if they're strong, and the radiative effects of that. Saturday, so I'm drunk. Well, you know, it's nice to drink a little bit every now and then, but with these energies coming up, you definitely don't want to be drunk. You definitely want to be alert, sober, focused, ready, and like precise and on it. So enjoy tonight, but tomorrow the energies come in. Yeah, I'm happy to be live too. I like doing these live streams. I really just, I would do them more if I could, but I just travel a lot. So once I have a stable place, you'll be seeing a lot more live streams, a lot more videos. So I'm doing pretty good, even in the context of traveling. Esprees, you the man or woman, thank you so much. $9.99, amazing, $9.99, I love it. Thank you so much, I appreciate the support. Woke up with a massive headache. Felt like a vacuum cleaner. Roughest day I've experienced to date. Make sure you're grounding. Make sure you're grounding. Nourishing foods. Something that's really nourishing would be like a potato vegetable soup with vegetable, like mushrooms, for example. You can make that. Everything will be solid if you do that. If you have a headache, maybe examine your coffee and caffeine consumption, because if you have that too much, it predisposes you to headaches. So wishing you well. Wishing you well. Feeling an increase in awareness, both of myself and in understanding the world. That's great. I have two, I feel like. Meditate 3 times a day. Good on you. I'm trying to meditate just more often. I've been doing really good recently. It can be difficult though. How do we prepare? Well, I also have a video on how to prepare for geomagnetic storms. You can go to my just my videos and you'll see that. It's like a geomagnetic storm. It's like green. It just says keep calm and carry on. So it talks about all the different things, but to quickly go through it, make sure you're eating good foods, no sugar, like reduce your processed carbs, for example. Protein is really good. Herbal teas like chamomile, passion flower, dandelion root. Those are all really great at kind of helping you to balance and chill out and modify these energies appropriately. Medicinal mushrooms like turkey tail, reishi are really, really great. Ashwagandha is an herb that's also really good for this. Breathing exercises. I mean, God, let's just do some good deep breathing and fresh air. That's like the best thing you could do. Stretching, just loosen up your body. Yoga, yin yoga specifically, you could put on a yoga nidra. That'd be amazing. Those are all ways that you can prepare. Mushrooms. Sorry, the chat's picking up, so I'm trying to read through these as best I can. Macro, micro, whole. Show your birth chart. Maybe one day. It's you know, charts are kind of like vortexes. It's a lot. I'm still trying to understand it myself. How far south in the U.S. might northern lights be visible? Interesting question. Well, it depends on a few things. I mean, with all the energy coming in, we could see it push down to Texas, perhaps. I would say probably, it really depends on the weather, right? If you have clouds, you're not going to see them. But I wouldn't be surprised if people get some like red glow using time-lapse photography in the southern states. But probably more higher up than that. It may not go past Canada or Northern Europe or, you know, Russia. So, but who knows? We'll see. We definitely have more X-flares that are possible in the near future that could push it further down if we get large coronal mass ejections. We're at the Russell-McFerrin effect right now. We have that ability to have these really powerful energy injections. Very good health advice. Namaste, namaskaram. Don't forget to breathe. Start a garden. Great advice. Gardening is like the best thing you can do because it combines all these things simultaneously. You're getting your hands in the soil. It's light exercise. You're outside. You know, you're nourishing yourself with the food that you're growing, completely biodynamic, hopefully, no pesticides, right, clean soil, good water. So yeah, that's one of the things I miss right now is I can't do my gardening when I'm traveling. I do what I can, but I'd love to have a garden. That's great advice. And right now at the spring, it's starting to become a good time to garden. Hug a purring cat. Yeah, you know, our family and our friends and our beloved animals, they carry an energy to them just like we do. They have their own biofields, and we can find coherence and harmony when we combine our biofields with other people or other things, like a cat or a dog. And you know, cats like to go right up on your chest and sit there. It's one reason why is you're warm, but also so your heart fields can just enter into coherence really quickly. It's an energy conservation mechanism. So if you have a cat, great time to drink some tea and hang out with your cat and just, you know, keep it cool, keep it calm. good luck when the negative vibes come to you, man. Well, that's where the work is. I mean, that's if you're really intent on being a better person, then you should welcome the challenge of that, because life isn't all sunshine and rainbows and daisies. That's how you strengthen and overcome and adapt, and it's natural for there to be both positive and negative energies, and they're not necessarily different, non-duality, right? Like, you can use negative influences to actually increase and evolve in your consciousness evolution journey. So I don't necessarily manifest or ask for like bad things to happen, but when they do, I don't get fussed up and bothered about it. And I would give the same advice to others. YouTube is glitching again. Let me just check to make sure the live stream looks good. Just the stream health. It says it's okay. Okay. Whatever you're seeking, may it find you. Yeah, I mean, what I've been doing just the past couple weeks now is I've just settled upon a really nice manifestation mantra, and I've just been putting that thing on loop anytime I have downtime, especially with all the traveling, like on the train, close my eyes, that just starts to go on loop. And actually, it got to a point where it was doing itself. And I just very intentionally chose my words. It took a couple days to put the words together in the right order to have it make perfect kind of sense with everything that I wanted. Now it's a really strong manifestation time because of this move into Aries, because of all this energy increase as a result of all the sun in Aries, but also Mars in Pisces, Venus in Pisces, Jupiter in Taurus. So really good stuff out there right now. It's a great time for that. Shit may hit the fan, but we're still living and loving. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, folks. There's a billion things that can happen, but as long as we live heart-centered with love at the front, I mean, if there's some apocalypse, let's say, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, right? But what we can do is to be there together, humanity as one, and that is the way forward. Hug a tree. I missed Carnival. Well, I did not miss Carnival last year. I was here last year for Carnival, but yeah, I missed it this year. But Germany's cold during the winter. Man, whew. I was very happy in Southeast Asia where it's nice and warm and I got a good tan. So I missed Carnival. Maybe next year I'll be back. It is fun. It's a lot of, in Cologne, it's a lot of drunk teenagers, basically. But, it can be fun too. Could the power grid get knocked out from this solar storm? This whole power grid getting knocked out thing is a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not. The thing is that we've had some really strong storms. Like in 2003, we had the Halloween storms. There was an X46 solar flare, and there's more than that. Very powerful geomagnetic storms. And we didn't have the power grid collapsing. Now the power grid has in some ways gotten weaker since then because parts of it are older, but also parts of it are newer. So the story is, a lot of these YouTube channels or websites is they make it sound like the entire power grid is going to go down. What's more likely to happen, what has happened many times, is that there are localized power failures. And that's a problem when it's, let's say, really cold outside, or it's really hot and you need the AC. But it's not this like, let's say, nationwide power failure is a pretty unlikely event, unless we got some sort of catastrophic storm that is totally, just completely overloads everything. And that would be maybe a Carrington event. We don't know. But I mean, it's possible, but I personally don't think a power grid collapse is extremely likely. I think there's other things that are much more likely than that. I think localized power failures or outages, Sure, that's definitely going to happen. Already has and will continue to happen, but like a complete power grid collapse, I'd be more worried about, like, let's say a nuclear threat from ourselves. If something like the Carrington event happens, it's all going down. Well, we hope not, but you know, we don't know. You know, maybe it'd be a good thing though, because our planet, we saw how much our planet healed with all the lockdowns. As crazy as those were, and I don't, you know, I'm not a fan of all the lockdowns and the societal dynamics of that, but undoubtedly with the scientific evidence, the planet really liked it. It started to heal when we were polluting less and doing less harm on the planet. So, what healing stones do I recommend? Well, I've been really liking this recently. Corellian, I think this was called. I'm sorry, you know, I feel bad for not remembering the name, but Howlite is a good one. If you want something that's calming, very gentle, works with you over the long term, Howlite is really nice. Bloodstone is a good healing stone, pretty powerful, but you know, just, you know, talk to it, you know, say help me out, and it'll do that. Any dark stone will pull energy and transmute it for you. Moldavite is excellent at doing that, really good at absorbing just any chaotic kind of loose energy that you don't need and just dissipating into neutral energy, and that can be very healing. It depends on what you need to heal. I mean, rose quartz can be very healing if you have some sort of like heart or love injury, right? Citrine if you have issues with your energy generation, your solar plexus. So quartz is a very powerful ally. Of course, there's so many. You could go into, let's say, like sapphire and emerald, and I mean, there's a bunch. But just really, I guess my recommendation is if you feel like you need some sort of crystal or stone to help you with something, go to a crystal shop or a mineral show and just ask your intuition, your spirit, to guide you to the right stone, because it's also the consciousness of the crystal. And so when I go in these crystal stores, I don't just like, I want this. I like feel it out, and then when I'm drawn to it, I'm like, that's the one, and it just speaks to me. And it's often not at all anything I expected, but that is the best way to go, because in our limited mindset and perspective, we really don't know what we need, but our higher spirit does. So that's my advice to you. Smoky quartz, that's another good one. Also helps to kind of absorb and transmute some of those energies. Shungite, I love shungite. I've talked about it quite a lot. Love the lockdown air. Yeah, it was nicer. Tips for sleep during geomagnetic storms, solar flares. Being grounded, really, really key. I also personally, a lot of people like to not sleep on a full stomach. I like to sleep with a bit of a full stomach. Now, if this is like a super carb heavy meal, let's say you just had like pasta, your sleep's not gonna be good. And you're not gonna sleep that well if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, okay? Because alcohol will disrupt your sleep. That's just, in coffee late at night or midday, not good. But like a good fat, protein rich meal with good whole unprocessed foods for the most part, that helps me sleep really nicely. And it's very grounding, nourishing. It gives your body something to put its energy into, because you accumulate charge just naturally. And so if you don't have something there and you're not grounded, it's always kind of like reaching out. And if you have a meal there, it can kind of go into the meal and help digest it. So that's something I like to do. I mean, I've talked a lot about this. I have a whole bunch of grounding and earthing videos. You can check out my playlist on that. Wear copper. I'm at a crystal store right now. Well, have fun. I'm jealous. Those are always the best. We'll be getting we'll be turning the live stream off soon. So just a couple more questions. Stones have no ethnicity. Yeah, I mean, it's just consciousness. One of the things that I really, once I learned about it, I really resonated with it, is general resonance theory, which stipulates that anything that vibrates has a consciousness, whether it's extremely rudimentary to more advanced. Let's say a stone, you have unbelievably rudimentary consciousness compared to a human, which can speak and emote and do all these things. But I mean, we are just made up of vibration, just like a stone is. It's just locked away in mineral bonds to a greater degree. And so stones and crystals, they also have unique consciousnesses of their own, at least that's what I believe. And that's why I think they're very powerful to work with. And the thing with their consciousness is that it has lived for millions of years. Whereas we kind of blip in, we blip out very high and then like right back down. But stones are like this, they just last for forever. Stone breaks, now you got two. So you're working with a consciousness that has a different understanding of time, and it's very, very, very intelligent over long time spans. Hug trees. Hug trees. Stones are alive. They are. I've had too many crystals do too many weird things on me to not believe that. It's the same thing with astrology. There's too many things that have happened with like crystals and astrology and like manifestation that I would be kind of dumb to discount them. Like that would actually be kind of the opposite of the scientific method, because I've made so many observations there that's like something to this. And that's why I have no problem reporting on space weather and really going into those physics and those dynamics, and also talking about the archetypal energies of, you know, the moon and the sun opposite. Like, I don't think the two are separate. They don't have to be. And I hope that, you know, people don't start to, everyone's going to do what they're going to do, but just because I speak astrology doesn't discount what I say with space weather, and just because what I say with space weather doesn't discount what I say with astrology. People are so linear nowadays, but I think all of you here understand and get it, so God bless you all. So happy to have, you know, created this congregation for the universe to have really manifested it, because I think I'm just one part of that greater collective manifestation that we have all combined together to make. And we'll see where this goes. So one more question, then I'm going to sign off. It's late here. What am I doing for the eclipse? What am I doing for the eclipse? Maybe well, what I'm doing for the eclipse is a couple things. I just came to Cologne because I'm going to be working on my course. I needed a stable place that's just my own. I can just work for like 6 weeks. And so this eclipse is kicking that off, because I start working on that course on Monday. I'll be making less videos throughout this next time period. Though if something crazy happens, I'll be there for you guys. So this eclipse is really kicking that off. I'm using all those Aries energies to do that. I also have some friends I'm meeting up with here, so it's a little bit of some relationship themes for me built into this. But it's really also just, I'm finally feeling comfortable, I feel like, in my skin. Like, I mean, I've always been comfortable in my skin, but just the past 2 months, 3 months, I've just felt a shift. I just feel so much more calm and centered and at peace. And so that's been really nice. And so I'm excited to see where that leads, because I have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening on my ascendant. So that'll be a very new, big initiation and beginning. So in general, I mean, I'm also doing a lot of manifestation right now, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, just really working and seeking to deliver the most that I can to you guys, while also being true and honorable to myself. And then also just how can I best help the world, the people I know, and spread the most love. So that's what I'm doing for the eclipse. So we'll sign it off there. Thank you all for being part of this live stream. I apologize if I did not get to any of your questions. You know, the font is very tiny. They scroll so fast. I have pretty good eyesight, but you know, I don't like to, you know, it's just difficult. So thank you all for being here. I hope I can get you on the next one. You can always leave a comment to this video and I will get to it eventually. Tomorrow is kind of a kickback, chill, rest day, so I'll look at those and respond as I can. Just leave in the video comments. And then, yeah, if you want some preparation and help with these big energies coming up, then I have various resources for you. You can check out my how to prepare for a geomagnetic storm video, my earthing grounding playlist, another $9.99. You are the man. God bless you, sir, good sir. Wow. And so there's a lot on my channel. You just have to go through and find it. It's not that difficult. I just took a whole bunch of videos and I delisted them. So the cream has risen to the top now. So yeah, just go through that. And if you have any other questions, again, just leave them in the comments below. And I hope you found this helpful, this complete breakdown. I don't know how long this live stream has been. And thank you, One of a Mind. Wow, $20. This is really great. I never expect these things, and it's always kind of weird to see them on screen because, yeah, it's just a weird. It's lovely. It's really lovely and wonderful. But it's just odd that I can stand here and just people are so gracious and sharing their hard-earned time, energy, and money. I don't really know how this evolved and how this happened. I mean, I put a lot of work into YouTube and saw it took a long time to get to 5,000 subs and then beyond. But there's something more than that. The universe has to want to work with you for you to do well on YouTube or just in general with this type of like more communal public interaction. So yeah, it's interesting, but thankful to all of you guys for that. And it's an energy thing. It's an energy thing. So wishing you all well. God bless. I'm going to go to sleep now. Have a great rest of your Saturday. If you're in the United States, if you're in Europe, you're also time to go to sleep. If you're more over in like Asia, Australia, then I think it's morning for you guys. So welcome to the 24th. Yes, 24th. And we got about 36 hours till the big lunar eclipse, geomagnetic storms, solar proton radiation storms. A lot. So just do what you can. Love you all. Wishing you all well. I'm sure you all do well. We're all in this together. We're all going to come out the other side. Much love. God bless.